The Arole Oduduwa and Ooni of Ife Kingdom in Nigeria, Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, Ojaja, II, was on Tuesday hosted by the President of Brazil, His Excellency Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva, in Brasilia, Brazil's federal capital territory as royal guest of honor during the official launching of annual African Religion Day, which held inside the banquet hall at the President's office in Brasilia, capital of Brazil. Ooni, the foremost African and dynamic king of youth development who has been in Brazil's states of São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Salvador Bahia, and Brasilia on a 5-day working visit in continuation of his global tour for African people's peace and progress agenda, also while in the country unveiled some initiatives for the reunification of the over 100 million Afro-Brazilians via his program tagged Back to Home. In their talks after the event, Ooni Ogunwusi explained that Afro-Brazilians like their other counterparts in Brazil have done a lot to prove their love and support for the country, urging President Lula not to renege on his promise of an inclusive pro-African government. I can remember very vividly when your visit to Nigeria in 2003 during the former President Olusegun Obasanjo's term. You still have the love and respect of the African people. We have you in our prayers and we pray that the Almighty Olodumare, God, continues to be with you, with your darling wife who is my daughter and your administration. Africa is proud of you. In his response, President Lula da Silva thanked the Ooni for his love for him and his wife, who he referred to as Ooni's daughter, allotted the king for his mission towards reunification of not just the Afro-Brazilians but also Africans worldwide, which he believes means well for the global peace. President Lula told Ooni Ogunwusi that the efforts of the Afro-Brazilians towards nation-building in Brazil cannot be overemphasized, adding that his government is committed to strengthening the ties between Brazil and Africa, which is the home continent of his people. My wife is here with me, always calls you my father. Your love for us and for our country is indeed well appreciated, and I promise you of my continued love for Africa. I have visited 44 countries in Africa and opened 19 embassies because Brazil of my administration has an historic pact to Africa. My wife and I are extremely fulfilled as your presence here today assures that this ISESE day has come to stay, President Lula said. Earlier in the day, the Ooni was at the Federal House of Representatives chamber in Brasilia, where he addressed a special parliamentary session organized in his honor. At the event, which was well attended by the federal lawmakers, cabinet ministers, and top Brazilian dignitaries, Ooni Ogunwusi called for unity of African descendants across the world, urging the legislative arm of Brazilian government to support President Lula with necessary pro-Afro-Brazilian legislations. We cannot afford to be divided again. We are one, irrespective of color and race. President Lula is our pride. He remains determined to do well for Africa, and you must support him with legislations helpful to his mission for Africa. That's all I beg of you, if truly we are one big family. What we need now is to unite for growth of all persons and be good to all regardless of religious and cultural differences. I am sitting on an ancient throne of over hundreds of centuries, a sacred throne of the kingdom where most of you all migrated from. Beyond here in Brazil, I am delighted to inform you that you all have a home in my kingdom and there are free lands for you to come and build your homes across Africa. I vow never to forget you. You are a major part of us in my kingdom of Ife, and we hope to receive you home soon as possible. In fact, I have deliberately mapped out free land for you all to come and live, invest, and reside. Earlier in his welcome address, the Parliament's Deputy Speaker, Honorable Deputado Vicentinho Requerente, who led other lawmakers to receive the foremost African monarch in the Parliament, described the Ooni as a caring father whom the Afro-Brazilian community holds in a very high esteem. The lawmaker, who expressed his heartfelt joy in Portuguese, said, Your presence here today has added to the dignity of people of African origin in Brazil, and this day will remain a history-making day for life. After the parliamentary session, the Arole Oduduwa was hosted at the Nigeria House in Brazil by the Nigerian ambassador to the country, Ambassador Ahmed Mohamed Makarfi, who led other African diplomats to receive the spiritual leader of the Yoruba people and the Oduduwa race worldwide.